good afternoon from Los Angeles, California. I am Joey J. Ping, and to my left, or depending on which way you're watching this, on my right over here, is Bryan Bennett, the head of sales from Airgraft. Today, we've got a very special California cannabis podcast brought to you guys by InfiniteCAL, aka Infinite Chemical Analysis Labs. These are InfiniteCAL. These are our premier partners for all things testing, compliance, terpenes, R&D. If you guys want an honest lab, if you guys want a lab that relies on real science and accurate numbers and actually provides not just compliance testing, but accurate dosing for your patients, for real patients, Infinite Chemical Analysis Labs, these are our partners. We recommend them. But the episode, folks, is not about them. The episode is about Airgraft and their vaporizing technology, the hardware, the dosing, the precision that they've got. And Bryan here, head of sales again, is going to talk to us. Bryan, welcome to the show. How are you living today?
Oh man, Joey, I'm just so happy to be here. Greetings from sunny Michigan.
Yeah,
I don't know how
you're in the big Michigan. Are you in the upper mitten or lower mitten?
I'm in the lower peninsula, just outside of Detroit, so right around here.
Yep. Okay.
Yep,
Just
yep.
outside
I
of
love that you knew
D-town.
that, man. Use the hand.
Come on, man. You got to use the hand. I don't know if it's this
Got
or
to.
this. I forget, but I was ready
Right here.
for it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
bro.
I love it, dude. It looks like it's beautiful out there. You guys are technically that's the Midwest part of Michigan, right?
Yeah,
Like
yes.
you guys get the same climate as like, Chicago and Illinois and all the other states around. It's like
Yep.
it's the real Midwest over there in D-town. Now,
Yes, sir.
Airgraft, though, you were just saying it, Bryan, not from Michigan. I don't know enough about the company to really give too much of an intro, so why don't you fill in the people? Where is Airgraft founded from, or where did it start?
Yeah. Appreciate the question, man. It's a great place to start. Airgraft was started in Montreal, Canada,
Oh, okay.
actually. So that's where our headquarters is based out of. We have our whole team out there. I'm actually the only one based in the U.S. currently.
There we go.
But
Representing.
it's my job to help the brand achieve a bit more of a presence here in the U.S. and then hopefully expand into some other territories as we grow.
It's a unique business model, the one that Airgraft has. I won't act or put on this presentation like I'm fully aware of all the details. I don't read financials. I'm not paying attention to investments or where companies are based. That's not my part of the culture, right, Bryan? We know this. That's not me. I care about the product, right? I told you a couple years ago. I told you a couple months ago about my experience from a couple years ago when I couldn't get the device to work on the live stream. And Bryan, how often is user error a problem in cannabis, right? Especially in vaping. It's a problem. It's a thing. You have to understand how to use these things. And I am the classic case, bro, of I don't read the directions. You can go back to every educational teacher, professor, elementary school, all the way through college. And I was always forgetting to put my name on the homework or forgetting to read it or to sign this or to put the date or whatever it was. I didn't read the directions. That was classically my one of my downfalls. And so, Bryan, I'm excited to have you back on because we're circling back. We're going full circle here. It's been at least 3 years, maybe even 4, since I've tried the device, since I've used it. We actually have one here today, courtesy of you and your guys' delivery service partner. You guys set it up. And this is how you know I haven't even opened it yet. I haven't even checked it out yet. We've got a brand new, shiny, still in the plastic, an original Airgraft 2 battery right here, and we have the oil from Friendly brand right here on the other side. How cool is that, you guys?
Awesome,
Bryan,
dude.
What am I working with right here, man? Tell me what I'm looking at. Tell me what's in my hands, man. Break it down for the people, bro.
Sweet, man. Yeah. So you're working with, in the industry, we call it a closed loop system as opposed to, what would be an open loop. You have a 510, you have a battery. So the closed loop system is just a proprietary pod and battery combination that we've created to really, what I think is highlight the oil that's being used and consumed by the customer. So as you open the thing up right now, what I will say is, you're looking at this battery, and right off the bat, we designed the battery to mimic the shape and the feel of a Bic lighter. So we wanted something for customers.
Yeah.
We wanted something that was like really familiar for customers to hold in their hand, to feel. And so, yeah, that was sort of like what we designed the shape after was the Bic lighter. So, and I want to address right off the bat, something that you had mentioned was that the experience that you had the last time not being able to get the pod up and running. This is something that we've taken steps to combat. We've heard customers in California that the activation step is just a hurdle that a lot of people aren't really trying to take. And that's something, to your credit, right? You don't read the instructions, and we want to make this as effortless for our customers as possible. So
I mean, you did
currently,
put it in huge lettering, right? Like you
yes,
must
yes,
unlock
you must unlock this. You must unlock this thing. And I will say the process by which you do it, is actually kind of fun. We don't require any of the other states. So California was like our first big state that we went into, that we launched in, and we definitely went through like trial and error to try to make this a fun experience for customers. And what we learned was that exactly the hoops that they have to jump through is not always, the best thing. So right here, you're on the activation screen. You can pull your pod out of the packaging, out of the little bubble that it's in. You can put the pod in the battery.
I gotta register. Hold on. We're jumping ahead. Oh, and it still has me registered from before. Nice. Okay.
There you go. Look at you, man.
We gotta get, because I gotta do the live review here with you, bro.
I know, bro.
This is what we did it for, man. I gotta know. And also too, big shout out to your partner, Friendly Farm, Friendly Brand. They're still at it, still around, and they chose to collab with you.
Heck yeah.
That is a good oil partner, brother.
Yeah. We love Friendly. We've got a couple other partners in California. Shout out to Maven as well. They're great.
Ooh, Maven's on your platform?
Yep. Holler at Maven.
All right.
These damn child-proof packages, man.
Luckily, I'm not a child.
I know.
I'm a committed adult, and when I say committed, I'm committed to vaping Airgraft and Friendly. Now, folks, I'll have you guys know I have been vaping Friendly since at least 2018, 2019-ish.
Man, he's an OG. He's an OG.
All right, guys. We have it here. I have unlocked the battery officially, Brian. We are.
Did you place it? Did you place it on your phone?
It says it. It says now it wants me to put it in and see do I see a rainbow light?
Do you see a rainbow light?
Negative. No rainbow.
So let me see your screen here. Show me your phone here. So it says right there, you should, what's that yellow button say?
Oh, I was looking at the wrong side of the battery.
So you should be able to click that yellow button, and it'll tell you to like activate the pod. So you might have to set your phone down.
Hold on, it's telling me to potentially plug it in. So let's give it a good three.
Okay.
Give it a couple minutes, because you just never know. Oh, okay, let's go on now. Okay, so let's just leave this here until we hit 15 minutes on this. We'll come back, we'll revisit this, because I've got some more questions. You just mentioned some of your collab partners, and this leads to some bigger questions that I have for you, right? And we're both smoking, so maybe we'll do this until the end of the joint. So the Airgraft ecosystem, okay? Talk to me about this, because we saw the PAX ecosystem for a couple years with their pod partners. Yep. I like that. I was here for it. Different strokes for different folks, different partners, different regions. But you don't have to do it the way they did it. So how is Airgraft doing it? What is up with this ecosystem? It's battery, it's pod, oil. Is there more than that? Is there more proprietary things to this? Is there vibrations like Aero Pro? Like what makes Airgraft this unique situation?
Yes, dude. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you asked. There are a couple points that I wanna touch on. Just from the few little bullets that you hit there. One thing I will say is, in general, we work under sort of a licensing agreement. So per state, we work with operators to sell them our hardware, our branding, our marketing assets, and then they'll fill with their oil. Anyone else who wants to partner, but we generally work in exclusive partnerships from a state to state basis.
Okay.
Our partners really choose us specifically. Is we do have a pretty low fail rate as far as our pods and our batteries go. So that means low return rates. We've got really strong reviews, and we also work with our partners to help them with some margin control.
Mm-hmm.
When we onboard people, we go through a whole tutorial. We come out to site. We give them a filling tutorial on how to fill our pods properly, the right way to do it to make sure that customers are satisfied. But the producer actually, what I will say, that's one of the coolest parts about what we do as opposed to some of the other closed loop brands, is that we support everything. So the retailer can dial in the heat setting to their distillate, their live resin, their rosin, with 4,000 different heat settings,
Wow.
which really then helps you dial in the smoke content that you're getting. You want customers to have bigger clouds. We can change the heat setting to do that. Customers smoking distillate as opposed to live resin, that's going to burn different based on the viscosity of the product.
So you
So
can preset that data into it just for the pod technology?
yes,
That's
correct.
important because I felt like on having been a partner to the previous PAX ecosystem, which no longer exists, right?
Yep.
So having been a partner there via Buddy's brand, and I'm being an adamant supporter of the pods being flashed with information and the custom settings, we I and we as the brand, we really appreciated being able to custom set that because that decreases the likelihood of user error or consumer error.
Yes.
And then, whereas with cartridges, you have the classic three settings. If you're lucky, you have three
Yes.
settings
If you're
because there
lucky,
are
man.
still draw only batteries out there because draw only batteries are more affordable, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
there are already two types of batteries out there that are limited to a total of four settings. Both of those devices do not actually maintain the heat at that temperature. It goes up and
Yep.
past it, and then it
Yep.
actually goes down and hangs out below it, right? It's never at
Yes.
the actual temperature when it comes to standard batteries. So
Correct.
this precision using information, using technology, that is innovating. And as we said in the title, it's vaporizing
Yeah.
vapes as we know it, Bryan. It's changing everything. We're not
Yes.
playing games
Yes.
anymore when it comes to vapes, all right?
Yeah.
So this is wonderful. This is phenomenal.
Yeah.
4,000,
Yeah.
4,000 settings,
But
Bryan. That's great.
let me give you my three big points that actually set like the device and the smoke apart. One is what we sort of talked about, was that the heat settings, it's programmed into the pod. So every pod has a cryptographic signature that's verified by the battery. So when you put your pod in the battery will actually then change and convert its heat setting to be compliant, or not compliant, but work with the pod
Yeah.
based on
To
what it
be
was
in
set to.
alignment with what the setting is.
Yes, exactly. So that RFID that's kind of in the pod, that's a huge point that we really like to highlight. Another one is that we have a zero leak design. So everything is gravity fed, which we have a high porous ceramic wick. There's no metal chimney that comes in contact with the oil at all. So you really do have like a leak proof, cleaner burn. But to then piggyback off of what you just said about one of our competitors that we don't have to talk about that have haptic feedback. One thing that I think really sets the haptic feedback that our product has apart is it's more of haptic feedback with purpose. Some of the other brands will have haptic feedback to where it vibrates as you hit it, but all it is a vibration to let you know that it's working. So
That
it
it's
makes it more
activated.
discreet. And so it makes it more discreet, and that's great. our haptic feedback actually designates that with every second long pull, you'll get a vibration. So
Yeah.
as you hit this thing, each vibration is notifying the patient, the customer, whoever it is, they're actually getting 1 milligram of THC. So you
Are
take
we calling
3.
that haptic dosing then, or what's the phrase?
Yeah, I would call it, well, I like to call it haptic feedback with purpose, but we can call it haptic dosing just because haptic feedback just means it's vibrating, but I guess
Yeah.
it is haptic
Well,
dosing as well.
versus like a light, for example. Like most of the
Correct.
batteries just light up right at the end.
Correct. So not only with the vibration do you know that it's working, but you also know how much you're getting. So people who are a little bit
Yeah.
THC sensitive, like I can tell you, my mom, if I give her one of these, she's gonna hit this thing to like 3 or 4 vibrations. Me, bro, you, maybe I can hit this thing 9 or 10 vibrations
Yeah, we're
if
gonna
I'm good
go
for
until
it.
the end, and then
Yeah,
if I
exactly.
remember correctly, which there's something that needs to be recognized when it comes to, or discussed when it comes to people thinking about Airgraft, the pods, the product, right?
Yeah,
When you go to a dispensary, you're not getting high because of Airgraft. You're getting high in part because of Airgraft, but you're getting high because
sure.
of the science of the weed doing the weed things in the device. So
Yes.
the brand, the oil, the partners become a very important element in the
Yes.
success of either this device or vaping in general, right? When you think
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
battery, cartridge, or just hardware one, hardware two, and then what's in it really, really freaking matters, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Let's
man.
talk a little bit about how your technology aligns with your partners, such as Maven, such as
Yeah.
Friendly
Friendly.
brand, and some of these
Yep.
other groups. Could you do
Yeah.
you, where? What are some of the? Are you in multiple states? What's the United States market like? Who are some of those partners?
Yeah, so we're in Colorado and New Mexico, and those partners are with Schwaz. Their retail group is Starbuds. In Utah, Missouri, and Ohio, we're with Standard Wellness.
Wow.
Yep. We have a couple small partners in Washington, and then yeah, California as well. So we are trying to
I think
expand
that's
into a
five,
few
or
other
was that
states.
6 or 7? How many was that right there? 7 or 8? How many was that?
Currently that's 7.
Yeah, there we go, man.
Yep.
Lucky number 7, dude.
Yeah.
And some
Yeah.
interesting states too. People don't know anything about Utah, Brian. We definitely got to talk about that one here in a little bit. That's gonna be cool. Got to touch on a little bit of Utah.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever talked to anybody about any kind of cannabis stuff for Utah, so we'll got to circle back to that. But how cool,
Yeah.
man! So what do you guys look for in your partners, right? What kind of oil do you think? Because obviously you got the disty, you got lives, cured, you got rosins. Those are just types. But when it comes to quality levels or partnerships, or maybe it's a culture of your partners, what are you guys
Mm.
looking for? Who do you want as an Airgraft partner in that ecosystem?
I think the most important thing that we're really looking for, with a partner, and I'm not saying that, people, if you don't choose Airgraft, if you go with the Pax or the Arrow or the Rove of the world, like, it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't care about the oil that you're putting in your product, but I do think that we're very, there have been some partners who have come in who have said, "Hey, we want to work with you," and we're like, I don't know if this is a good fit, and because we want people who work with integrity. If we're going to put our seal, our brand out there into a new market, we want to make sure that the people that we're working with, really care about what they're putting in. And I think we both know, like, distillate is definitely like a budget oil as compared to a live resin or a rosin or something like that, but the market's calling for it. People want distillate. People like distillate. I mean, people still drink well vodka. It's still out there.
And to be real too, when you look at that category and break it down a little bit more granularly, you have to realize that all-in-ones
Yeah.
versus carts versus pods, they all move at different rates or velocities, and the all-in-one category is extremely booming. So if they have a constant device in their hand that they can just cycle through flavors with, it can become either the primary device if they like it enough over the all-in-one, because sustainability is getting more and more powerful, respected, and popular. Whatever, pick your choice. Whatever the reason
Yeah.
is, it matters more and more every year to whoever, for whatever reason. And
Yeah.
Then we start thinking about, okay, cool, so let's just use one device. And then it becomes costs and flavors. And then who are the partners, right? And so I
Yeah.
think it's cool that you guys have a variety of partners across different oil types. With you as head of sales, what do you notice people are really enjoying from you guys in these different markets? Are you noticing that it's disty in this state, or it's maybe rosin here, or what are just some key trends or patterns that you've seen about within some of those 7 states?
Yeah, I mean, we've had some partners in the past that have tried rosin. What I will say, like totally honestly, is that our pods are 1 gram, and usually a lot of people who are producing rosin like to preserve that as much as they can and put it in half grammers. And so we have had people who have filled with rosin, but what I will say is that the highest feedback that we get is that the live resin that people put into our pods, like Galenas and Certified in Ohio, have both tried live resin in our pods, and they have just flown off the shelf. The burn is so great. I mean, with Maven, I know that you've got a friendly pod right now, but Maven does a really awesome live resin in California right
Yeah, they
now.
have great extracts. They handle their
Yeah,
own distillate, so it makes sense that they I don't know how that happens. Do they fill the pods? So that's another question I have. You guys, they're buying the pods from you guys, and then
yep,
they fill them. So custom machines
yep,
and all
yep.
that.
Usually like a Thompson Duke or whatever will,
Okay.
we'll do it. So we don't need like custom machines. Some people who don't have like a weighted press to press and seal the pods or the caps, we can custom make something, for them. But generally, like a Thompson Duke,
Yeah,
most of the
yeah,
filling
the
systems
standard
are
filling
good.
machines.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Cool.
yeah, yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
Well,
that's helpful.
should
That's
we
helpful
power
for
this thing
people
up?
to know. I mean, those brands that you're working with here from a California standpoint, I mean, to those people that are watching that aren't aware, they're definitely quality. They're definitely well known. Maven particularly has incredible flower that wins plenty of awards. Their extracts that they do themselves historically, always delicious because good flower in equals good extracts out if you have the right science team doing that stuff. Friendly
Yeah,
brand, their products speak for themselves, formerly known as Friendly Farms. They've won tons of awards. Their vapes primarily were some of the best in California. They still exist across tons of stores here. Maybe not once as big or successful as they were, but still to this day, I know what they stand for. We know what they're looking for from a curation standpoint. So I think that speaks to what you guys are doing as well for a
yeah.
partnership. Now we have
It's all
let
about
this charge
integrity.
for
Yes,
13 minutes. Let's
yes.
go ahead and pop this out.
Cool.
I'll stick it back in. Okay, it's going through the rainbow light.
Okay, so pick up your phone, and then it should ask you that little yellow button. It's like, do you wanna activate it? So you'll set your phone down, you put the pod right on the phone, and when you press that button, it should start to light up. There might be a button that you press on your phone.
Yeah, I'm ready. Light me up.
Yep, there you go. Is it flashing?
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
this is
So it should be
crazy.
done in just a second. Yeah.
Well, the light is white.
Does it
Continue.
say,
Yeah,
does
it tells
the
me guava, live resin, THC 75, terps 3%, CBD 0.09.
there
Continue.
you go. So you should be good to go. If it showed you that
Yeah.
the white was light, so
All
give
right,
it a
guys.
rip.
Cheers.
Yeah. Is it vibrating? Oh yeah. Yeah. My man. That's a good first hit. Yes. Yes.
Wow. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. Take
The
that sip,
guava
man.
with the passion fruit tea. Let's go.
Oh
1-2 punch.
yes.
All right,
Yes.
folks. First hit. You guys know how we do it. 1 hit, talk about a 2-hit score out of 10. Taste, terps. In this case, we're thinking about how did this overall perform? How did the taste come out? Man, 7 I'd say probably 7, 8 hits in, that was definitely some solid cloud vapor. The flavor tasted great. It didn't taste burnt at all. But that's the first one. We could expect that from the first. That's pretty fair to get in a lot of experiences,
Yeah,
in terms of a lot of experiences with other hardware. So let's go ahead and do the second one. Are you ready, Bryan?
I'm ready.
Cheers.
I'll take one with you just from my joint here.
Did it for 7 again. I'm not getting any form of burntness at all. It just tastes earthy, sour, piney. There's this little bit of creamy gas in there, which is what all the things that I would expect in the guava. I'd say solid, you guys. Very solid. Show you guys
Love that. Love that feedback, man.
Very solid. Definitely got to explore more pods, right? Definitely interested in that. But sitting here right now, this is a complete 360 in terms of the first experience to this one. And I'm excited to say that this definitely gets the full recommendation. Now, how much do these sell for retail in terms of the battery and the pods, Bryan? What is that range from here in California? What are you seeing in the Midwest?
Yeah, in California, the prices are about similar to what they are, to what they are in our Ohio market. California, I think what you just had is looking at like $40 for a 1 gram pod of live resin.
Mm-hmm.
The battery itself, depending on if the store or wherever is doing a promotion, sometimes people are giving away the batteries for free just to like up the value proposition of getting the pod. But the battery goes for around like $20. You can get it for 30 on our website. We do have
Yeah.
customers that like travel and they've got a couple pods on them, but they don't have a battery or something like that. So yeah, our merch store online can do that for you. We also have like a store locator on airgraft.com.
Yeah.
For people, if you're traveling to a state, you want to grab one, you've got your Airgraft battery with you, you can stock up. But yeah, we're looking at like 40 or $45, I think, for live resin. Distillate's a little bit less. In Ohio, the market is still pretty young. They're looking right now at like 45 or 50 for the pod. The battery's the same everywhere. Usually people just like keystone that, and just get their 50% margin on it. But
Yeah, that makes
um,
sense.
yeah. But I mean, I think that I will say, I think like the hardest thing that we're running into right now is, it's kind of like the battle against disposables. Most people are talking about, well, I can get a disposable of distillate for $20. Why should I buy an Airgraft pod that's like 40 or 50? And the biggest thing is I always tell people, I'm like, think about like a pile of disposables compared to like a pile of pods. Think about like the waste of plastic and everything that comes along with using this disposable device. And I know people aren't as like environmentally conscious as others, but at the same time, like when you really think
And I
about it,
believe
like
this is this plastic too, or is this able to be recycled? I felt like this is recyclable. No.
that is recyclable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what we've also done too with some of the partners in our other states is we've told them, hey, tell your customers to bring in their packs, their Arrow, their Rove, and we'll switch it out with an Airgraft battery just to get people to come over. I really believe that beyond the fact that we're creating like a good, smart, powerful draw for people, that really preserves the quality of the oil that they're smoking. I'd like
Mm-hmm.
to think in a little way we're doing something, to make a more eco-conscious
I mean,
community
just
here.
providing a recyclable hardware right here, like this, that by alone is a huge selling point for a lot of people where I'm from. And so
Yeah.
I obviously like I think it's probably got to be still tough, as you were saying, in a world of all-in-ones and all that kind of stuff, like, and just the nicotine vapes being how it is in that realm. Like, I just think that behavior is probably going to just unfortunately continue. But the people that want a really delicious, tasty, terpy experience, for those people, then that part of our audience, right, which is a lot of, quality seekers, I think this right here is a great representation of what flower is and could be in the vape form. I used to
Yeah.
be a big fan. I'm a big fan of the competitors. I'm a big fan of what PAX used to have. It's amazing to see where you guys have gone and where you were, where you've been, and now to see your guys' success in all these different states, particularly in this product quality, man. This is great. Obviously, it speaks a lot to the quality of the oil that's inside, but the technology has to work really well. And to me, I think this whole experience is really sleek. It's not heavy at all. As you said, it's pretty much the same exact size as a lighter. If anything, it's even smaller than the lighter that I've got here, which is funny. So the lot of upside there for
Yeah.
you guys. Let's talk
Yeah,
Utah
man.
for a second. What's going on
Yeah,
with you
yeah.
guys in Utah? Do they have all the different extract types, or is that one of the distillate states?
So I don't want to act like I'm an expert of Utah about Utah by
That
any
was going to be
means,
one
but
of my only two questions for Utah.
yeah. I what I do believe and what I've heard about Utah is that um just because of the laws and the regulations that kind of go on there, even like outside of cannabis, right? Like the alcohol content has to be below a certain amount. So I'm pretty sure that they don't have to just use distillate. I'm pretty sure that they can use live resin or whatever, but the amount that I think is allowed in is governed. And
Interesting.
yeah, I could be wrong with that, but there are only just like a few stores in Utah. And one thing too is like we can't even advertise that we're in Utah like on our website or whatever, just because of how strict um, the compliance laws are in Utah. So unless you live in Utah, you would have no idea that Airgraft is in Utah, or like any other brand for that matter. It's not just us.
That's
Um,
crazy. But they love to restrict things that they don't know anything about. So it makes sense.
yeah, yeah, man.
Jeez, dude. And shout out to the branding here, guys. We're talking yellow all the way around here. A dope Airgraft sticker too. Like this is a cool experience, man. I'm pretty impressed. The vibration on the timing, setting it up was pretty easy. I do like the ability just to scan. It popped up really fast. Had
Yep.
all the information on there. I mean, you guys saw it. Had this the guava thing, THC, the terps, the CBD was listed just like it would be on the product. Except you
Yep.
guys. Let me see real quick. And this was the back of it, right? And so that's
Yep.
that's pretty much what pulled up on the pod information. 68.35. Not yeah, THC terps at 3%. That's solid, man. That's solid. Bryan, we just had 420. We just had
Yeah.
Memorial Weekend. Summer's officially started. We're in the thick of it. What have you guys been up to? How did you guys build community? What did you guys do for your retail partners? Lay it on me. What's the latest the last few months?
Oh man, I will say right now I saw you when we were at Hall of Flowers out there in California a few months ago. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that was definitely a good time. I've only been sitting in this seat since January, so I've really been motivated to get out to meet some of the partners that we're currently working with, get in some of the markets that we're working to break into. So I think on my end, I'm personally just trying to, meet as many people as I can. We're working with some of the retailers, especially our partner in Ohio, Standard Wellness. We've got a really cool 710 opportunity coming up. We've partnered with Seed Talent to offer our training course to their bud tenders. We're taking care
Yo,
of everyone that's carrying Airgraft in Ohio, just so that we can really celebrate what they've done, because Ohio has been such a champion for us, as far as sales and the reception that we've gotten.
That's good to hear, man. I had a good time the last few years in Ohio for the for Lenny's event out there, and uh, really looking forward to seeing more continued growth there, and also too their expansion into these other product types. It was
Yeah.
dope to see them gravitate into rosin first before other things, just because of how the nature of the way that things were set up there. Um, you are in Michigan, right? That's where you
Yeah.
started with Novo F at. Is that's where you're located right now? Talk
Yep.
to me a little bit about that market. Do you, what do you think about you guys being out there, and how is that going for the brand in these competitive states?
Yeah, man. I mean, Michigan, like I'm sure you know, and I'm sure you hear from a lot of people, is a really interesting market. I think that we've paved the way a lot for, we've set an example sometimes in good ways, sometimes in not great ways for some of the other, recreational markets that come online. But Michigan is just really interesting with how we've handled border stores with, a lot of like interstate traffic coming through. It's incredibly saturated here, but maybe it's just because I'm biased, but I will tell you, man, I would be happy to shout out a couple of homies who are really doing it the right way, just growing some incredible flower, man.
Yeah, let's do
Um,
it. We gotta show love to the homies, man. Who's doing it right?
dude,
What's some recommendations you got for out there?
I always throw out Flos,
Oh
FLOS
yeah,
in Michigan. Yeah, Austin and Timmy are really, really kicking butt out there. I love Tip Top Crop. I love Exotic Matter. Ripe Herb is a brand that somebody put me on to a couple months ago. They have a super small footprint, but every single drop they have, I cannot stress this enough. Buy Ripe Herb if you are in Michigan. That is all I have to say. um,
ah,
yeah,
let's
yeah, yeah.
go, let's go,
And I'm sure
let's
you know
go.
Matty B Stacks. Like he does a great job with all of like the rosin collabs that he does, like with Eastside Alchemy. The guys at Wise Guys Farms are doing a really good job too. So yeah, yeah,
Boom! He gave you guys some banger recommendations for y'all to try out. Make sure you guys tap in, visit Michigan, and ask for those folks. And if you guys pop into one of the 7 states that Airgraft is in, you guys definitely got to ask for some of these collabs. Now we just saw the NBA Finals come to an end, so we saw that go to a Game 7, right? That was crazy. Big shout out to those teams for a
yeah.
hard fought series. So my question for you is 7 of your favorite Airgraft products. Do you have 7? Is it strains or collabs? Anything over time that really stands out? Could you just hit me with a quick 7 if you got them?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm trying to think. Our collab that we've done with Galenas and Certified in Ohio is really has really been great. I love what Maven has done.
Boom.
I cannot stress enough that I like Maven has really like just like shined every way through
Yep.
with the oil that they're producing. I will say the standard in Utah, even though I haven't tried it personally, it seems to bang really, really hard. And I'll give you a fifth one. I'll give you a fifth one, and I think I'll cut it off at there. But in Ohio, the solid does Donnie Burger,
There we go.
and that Donnie Burger oil is so good in Ohio.
I love that. Donnie
Yeah.
Burger is a very flavorful and fragrant and
Yes.
potent strain.
Yeah. I
And
love the
also, too, I
trips
got to
on
shout
that.
out to this guava one is definitely getting the effects are setting in. It's definitely helping my knees feel like they're floating as I sit there.
Ah.
Definitely a solid body high on that one. So I appreciate you sharing the 5 recommendations, man. That
Yeah.
right there are solid options for people to choose across the country. Bryan, for you personally, what were you doing in cannabis? What were you doing before cannabis? How did you get into space?
Um, I think like I had some humble beginnings. I started smoking when I was in high school. I was a swimmer, a water polo player. I was an athlete. And that was just kind of like my way to decompress, to chill. When I stopped swimming, I kept playing water polo competitively, but I always felt like really connected to cannabis. So at this point, I'm 11 years in of doing something that's cannabis touching. I started just helping friends in the black market, just growing and processing their product, and then buddy would go out, take care of it, bring back the money, and we'd keep going. And then, I started managing a couple of caregiver grows, 72 plants, at each property, making sure that the full life cycle of the product was taken care of. And I actually got a job working in compliance in the legal market for a company here in Michigan called Levels. They've got a
Yeah.
pretty big footprint here, like huge retail footprint. And then I got my first little bit of footing when I was working with Levels, just helping them sell some of our bulk flower that we had moving out the door. And then I actually worked for a company called Ooze. I'm sure you're
Okay.
familiar with Ooze's batteries. Ooze was a super big player in the game, especially early on. And yeah, those guys are super creative with the products that they're coming out with. Shout out Ooze, miss you guys, love you guys. But yeah, they did really well. I had a great time working for them. But I've come over to Airgraft, and not to say anything negative about Ooze, but I will say, going from a product that, we talked about, like the auto draw, or maybe you can have like a couple heat settings on the 510 battery, you're going from something that's a bit more of like a budget product to something that I think really has like a strong, powerful value proposition with it.
Yeah. I think that's
Yeah.
got to be huge, and having sold batteries myself, and something that was, not to say I on the same level kind of tech, but those PAX pods that we have a Buddies brand, when that platform existed, I was a fan. It was really cool to be able to be like this, these strains and these pods are from here, and play that model while also doing carts and disposables and all that. It was, definitely a fun time, and I'm excited to see that you guys have innovated on that, on top of that, within that, in your guys' own way, in an entirely separate way. Beautiful pod, recyclable ecosystem, super dope, my man. Bryan, I appreciate you being on
Yeah.
the show here today. We got to shout out our sponsor, Infinite Chemical Analysis Labs, InfiniteCAL, our premier partners for accurate testing, precision dosing, those kinds of things, folks. R&D, terpenes. You guys got to reach out to InfiniteCAL if you're in California or if you're in Michigan. This is an episode of the California Cannabis Podcast, brought to you guys by those guys, InfiniteCAL. You know what I'm saying? I'm Joey JP. This is Bryan over here, head of sales, Airgraft. Before we get you out of here, Bryan, I got one more question for you. What do you guys have on the horizon? What's coming up for Airgraft? Anything you can share?
Yeah, a couple of things. We've definitely gotten we definitely got a lot of feedback from people that they're kind of looking for an all-in-one right now. What you got, Joey, was you got a battery and you got a pod, and they're both separate. So we're working on a collaboration in a couple of states to create an all-in-one reusable reusable packaging for both. So that's one thing that we're excited about. That's on the horizon. I would say bigger picture down the road. We're definitely looking to go international. I can't necessarily say where, but we're in a few talks to hopefully going international. And then we also have a version 3 of our pod and battery that we're excited to release. Again, that release date is TBD, but there's a few really fun things that we're excited for in the next coming months and years.
That's exciting, man. I wish you guys nothing but success, and I hope to definitely stay connected with you guys and explore some more of these pods, man. I'm definitely interested to see what we're looking like for some sativas, guava, earthy, and those other flavors I mentioned. Still,
Yeah,
still thinking about how delicious that rip was. Definitely makes me interested in what those sativas and those fruits taste like.
yeah,
That usually are very potent and flavorful in live resin form. And so, big shout out to you guys and your guys' partner. Big shout out to Friendly Brand, Maven,
yeah.
the Standard, and all the other partners that have decided to be a part of Airgraft. Bryan, what do you want to leave the people with? What should we leave them with today? You got
Um,
you got a message for them? Anything else you want to promote or share?
Yeah, I mean, if you're interested in, checking out Airgraft, I would say don't wait, don't sleep on us. We've got a really awesome product. If you ever find yourself in Michigan, come and get some of the best weed in the country. I promise you won't be disappointed. And hit me up if you're here.
Tap in. You said airgraft.com, yeah?
Yep. You can
Let's
check us
go.
out a little bit more at airgraft.com.
Airgraft.com, folks. We'll see you guys the next time. Another episode of the California Cannabis Podcast brought to you guys by Infinite Chemical Analysis Labs. Bryan here from Airgraft, Joey J. Ping here from Respect My Region. We'll catch you guys next time. Love you all. Peace.